Hello everyone, welcome to this new video, and if you're new to the channel, I welcome you. My name is Cole and I am one half of Cine with my partner Simon. Together, last year we set on a journey to create our own cinema cameras from the ground up. We started off with some modifications on existing cameras, and now we are pleased to announce our own cinema cameras. Although we've only been together 1 year, we've learned and done so much in this year that it's been absolutely incredible. And it has been stressful as well. But without the genius minds of a few individuals, we could never achieve what we have achieved today. So I'd like to say thank you to a couple of people. And the first person is Will Wang. Will is responsible for the sensor unit that is in this camera. Without Will's hard work, drivers and support, this could never be possible. The second person is Chaba, and Chaba is the originator of CinePie. And we'll get into what CinePie is a bit later on, but without Chaba and his excellent coding work, none of this would be possible. I'd also like to say thank you to Condor Blue for providing us with some accessories. They allowed us to have a full cage system to go on one of our cameras. And finally, I'd like to say thank you to my business partner Simon and creative partner, because he is absolutely amazing. Simon, you are the smartest guy I know on this earth. I've learned so much working with you over the last year, and I can feel my intelligence growing just by working with you. Okay, so the Eve and the Elite. Two cameras built from the ground up by Cine. What you'll notice about these two cameras, although that they look a bit different, they share a lot of the same internals. And there's going to be a spec sheet on the website where you can go and check every single feature which they have. But if you look at the rear of the Elite, you can see it is more geared towards professional use. Inside these cameras, the main brain is a Raspberry Pi 5 8GB. We also have a Sony IMX585 dual gain sensor that is linked to the Raspberry Pi. Using these two together, we are now able to record up to 16-bit RAW CDNG. This gives us an incredible amount of latitude and quality in our final recorded images.
A great feature of RAW is that you have a lot more leeway and flexibility in your recorded images. As you can see, all of my highlights and lift is set to 0, and we have an overexposed window at the top here. But I can recover this using highlight recovery and various other tools. I can bring back all of the detail in the highlights, as you can see just by one slider the image is returning. We can go even further, as I did, using the HDR wheels and bring back a lot more information. Not only can you affect your highlights, but you can get a lot more detail in your shadows as well. This was just a quick shot and edit in the bedroom, just to show the power of RAW. If you light properly, you can get some great images using RAW. And remember, this is a dual gain sensor. This means you have a lot more information in your RAW footage over a traditional sensor.
First of all, let's have a look at the Eve. The Eve is the most affordable camera we have, and it's our darling at £480. We really hope this camera does well, because this is going to teach you the most about CinePie and how to build up your own camera. It comes almost fully assembled, but you do need to purchase your own Raspberry Pi to put inside. But don't worry, it's all plug and play. Looking over the body, at the rear, you can see we have the cheese plate, and this is where you'll attach your NPF or V-mount plate. From there, you can add your power option of choice. We also have a USB 5V output, and we have this on all of our cameras. Below that, we have a HDMI port and a DC 7.4 to 24 volt input, so don't worry, there's very little chance of blowing up your Raspberry Pi. On the side, we have a single power button and all of the exposed USB-A ports. Now you might have noticed that there was no 3.5 jack for headphones or mic on the camera. This is because you would plug an adapter into one of these USB ports and use your microphone or headphones from here. Doing it this way allowed us to keep the costs very low on this camera, because there are other parts we thought that we'd best spend the money on, such as the sensor and media. Coming round to the front, you can see the Sony IMX585 dual gain sensor. This sensor does dual gain and dual ISO, so you can get great detailed images and also very nice low light capabilities.
By using C-mount, there are so many lens options that you have, including some fantastic low-priced, great quality C-mount lenses. But you can adapt this to EF or different types of lenses. And on the media side, you can see we have a CF Express Type B slot. We have an unmount button, and I'll explain later on what this unmount button is for. We also have a single record button that lights up red, and you can see, just like the other side, we have 4 1/4-20 mounting points. There's a multi-point touchscreen on top which is very responsive, and this is how you control the camera. We're going to go through this in the UI section. The Eve can be used in a simple box style body, or you can rig it up for more professional use. It all depends on how much you want to spend and what you want to do. One point I would like to say is that on our cameras, all the parts are user replaceable. So if you happen to break your screen, you can order one for about £40 or £45 and replace it yourself, plug and play. The same goes for most of the buttons and all other components.
So that was the Eve, a very low-cost cinema camera that the user has some power over building at home. Although most of it's done for you, again, this is going to teach you a lot about plug-and-play devices. And now let's look at the Elite 16. Here we have the Elite 16. This is the Eve's bigger brother. So I'm just going to take you around this body now and show you exactly what we have on here. If I take off the body cap, you can see we have a Super 16 sensor, as explained before, and we have an MFT mount. You can also see the electronics inside here. Now, we have applied to the MFT Alliance to find out what we need to get this mount legalized and working on our cameras. At the moment, we can power it, we can do all we need to do, but we have to follow the protocols set out by the MFT Alliance. We don't know how much this is going to cost or if it's even possible. If not, then we might have to go with a normal dumb mount, but we'll see what happens. You can see the 4 screws here. Now these 4 screws allow you to release this front panel here, because there's going to be upgrades for this camera coming later this year. If you don't like the Super 16 size sensor, you'll be able to upgrade this plug and play to a Super 35 sensor. Once you've connected your new sensor in, you'll just do up these screws, install the new software, and away you go. If we come down to the left side, you can see we have the power button here and a big grille. Now remember, what you're looking at is a prototype version. There's going to be a lot more bold markings on this camera, different types of text, fonts, writing, all sorts of things going on here. This is strictly a prototype camera. You can also see we've got loads of 1/4-20s up the front and the back. Coming round to the rear, we have the integrated V-mount, and we have a lot of ports coming on the side here as well. So we have the antenna, which is going to allow you to connect to the Pi's Wi-Fi hotspot, so you can send a signal straight to your phone or laptop just by a browser. You have an SDI port. This is for the more robust connection for more professional use, but you also have a HDMI. You have a mini XLR for your audio, and these 2 3.5 jacks here, one is for mic and one is for headphones. And finally, we have the 12-volt DC jack input. You can see we have the release catch for the V-mount battery. And whilst we're on the subject of batteries, one 50 watt-hour battery can run this camera for about 6 hours in standby. These cameras, the Raspberry Pi, is incredibly efficient in how it runs, absolutely incredible. If you want to record, continuous recording will be about 4 hours. And that's on one VB50, like this small rig one here. No need to buy expensive power banks or expensive V-mount batteries. All the power you need can be in just one of these. Coming round to the media side, we have a CF Express Type B slot. We have an unmount button. Now this unmount button only needs to be used if the camera is on and you want to swap out your media. So you would press the unmount button, take out your media, put the new one in, and you're ready to go. We also have the record button, which lights up red when you record. And we also have a lank for control. And you can see we have the 1/4-20s all around the side here. The card that I've been using is the Chip Fancier 1 TB card, and I've been doing all my tests on this card. You've probably never heard of Chip Fancier before, but so far in my testing, it's been absolutely fantastic. I am going to do a review on this one soon, but this is the card I'm using. And we have to use CF Express Type B because you're writing an incredible amount of data. As I said, up to 16-bit CDNG RAW has to be recorded to a card. So we had to go for something really fast. And then finally, just coming around to the top, you can see we have the touchscreen here, the multi-point touchscreen, and we have the 1/4-20s for mounting. As I said earlier, we have the kit from Condor Blue and they were very gracious to send us out the cage system. When you're creating a camera from scratch, yes, it's great to run with your own design and make it any way you want to, but when you want to think about cages and rigging, that's where you can spend a lot of money. So having a cage system ready to go was going to be the way forward. We designed these mounts on the side just the same as the Red V-Raptor. So this allows us to use any Red V-Raptor cage and put the accessories on here. We reached out to Condor Blue and asked them if they could help us with a couple of cages so we can get this body all ready and set up as a professional unit. And they did that for us and it was absolutely amazing. And this is the rig here with all the small parts on. And then for a full rig professional build, we have this here. Thank you, Condor Blue, for helping us in this mission. We really appreciate it. Some people think that a Super 16 size sensor is too small, but Super 16 has so many advantages. Not only was it used in cinema for many years, but even today it allows us so much benefits. And those benefits are being able to use any type of speed booster you want, whether it's a 0.58, a 0.64 or a 0.71 times, you can use all of those on this camera. And then you can put EF lenses or whatever kind of mount you have and then get a wider field of view plus adapt. You can also use standard MFT lenses on this. So this FirePoc is a M mount and we've got it converted to a Micro Four Thirds mount. Because of the Super 16 size sensor, we can even use vintage glass like these Arri S, in which I have Cooke and Schneider Kuznach. And finally, we can use even B4 mount lenses. Now, as long as your B4 mount lens has a doubler, then the lens will fully cover the sensor, giving you so much more scope in which lenses you want to use. With the Eve, as I said before, you'll be using C-mount lenses or whichever adapters you can find. But with the Elite 16, you have so much more choice. And remember, later on this year, you'll be able to upgrade this to a Super 35 sensor and away you go. So before we get into some footage, we're going to check out the UI because we only saw brief hints of the UI in the B-roll. So let's look at that now. Okay, so let's get the camera on now and take a look at the UI. Now just remember that everything you're seeing here is alpha and prototype. So the whole camera is a prototype. The fan inside, you're going to hear that, is a prototype. We're going to switch that out for a Noctua. The software is very much alpha, but it works. We can record and do everything we need to do as if it had a normal camera. We're just going to tweak it so the final product is absolutely amazing. So let's just turn this on now. And here we are, booted straight into the UI. So if you take a first look, you can see the normal stuff like frames per second, ISO, shutter, white balance, and this little monitor icon here, which gives us a lot of different options. And we'll go into that in a second. We've got the gallery here, which we haven't quite figured out yet. We're still working on that one to get it nice and smooth as possible. And then you've got a touch record button, but also you've got the record button on this side too. Then you've got your temperature and your CPU. So to change the frames per second, as normal, you would just touch and change it to whatever you want. 25, 30, whatever you want there. With ISO, you would change that 200, 800, 6400. That's the max is 6400. So that's what you'd go up to. Let me put that back to 200. Then we've got the shutter angle there, and you can change it to 216 or go down to whatever 108. But let's go back to 180. Then you've got your white balance, self-explanatory. And then you have the icon here. So this one has all of your monitoring features like focus peaking. So I'll turn focus peaking on, and then let's focus in on my mic stand. We'll see if we can get in there. No, we're a bit too close. So let's focus on my big TV at the back, and you can see there that that's properly in focus. Yeah. Turn off focus peaking. Then we'll go to zebra. So we can see we're a bit blown out at the top there. Let's increase the ISO to 800, and then bam. I'll step the lens down a bit to get rid of that. And you can see it works extremely well. So let's go back to 200 ISO. Turn off zebra. Let's go into false color. False color as you would expect. Dark purple. You can see the little icons there. That's your little table to show you what's underexposed, overexposed, and perfectly exposed. And then you can expose properly using false color. So let's get rid of that. Crosshair. You can see the crosshair in the center. Grayscale to help you focus more. And we've got 2.35 to 1 guides. 4x3 guides as well. 1.85. So loads of different guides on there. And we've also got the thirds grid as well. So let me turn off the guides here. And then you can see the thirds grid. So this is our UI, and you can see how easy it is to control this camera. Within 5 minutes, you can pick it up and know exactly how to use this. One other lovely feature I wanted to show you is the pinch to zoom. So let's just turn the camera over here, and you can see I've got my coat. Now, if I have problems focusing, we have a multi-touch touchscreen here. So you can actually just pinch to zoom in, get your focus nailed, and then just zoom straight back out again, all the way. And now you can hit record and go. This is extremely easy. A complete beginner could pick this up and know how to use it within minutes. If you want to change settings, just jump straight in and use all the features that you want to do at the touch of a button. Absolutely fantastic.
Okay, so now it's footage time. Everything you see here is shot in 12-bit in 4K at 25 frames per second.
Okay, so that was the test footage and I really hope you enjoyed it. I went for a kind of cinematic, softer kind of look here, but I really love how it came out. There's a few bits and pieces here if you pixel peep, and that's to do with the lenses I used and how wide open I had it, but absolutely incredible start. Now, a piece of exciting news is that we've teamed up with CinePie and we are now working on the encoder and the software together. So very soon we're going to have the most immaculate software and recording capabilities available. So who is this camera for? Because there's a lot of cameras on the market these days that you can choose from and so many brands at so many different prices. Well, I used to be a full-time DP and shoot anything from commercials to television work, all sorts of things. And I used to own two FX6s, FX3, FX30. As I started to pull away from that arena, I don't want to give up my passion for cinematography, but having £20,000 worth of cameras sitting on the shelf for occasional use was not the way forward. We just wanted a nice simple box camera with a good simple UI that was easy to use and that could record high quality RAW and without spending the earth. And there was nothing like that on the market, so we had to create our own. I shoot on a Sony FX3 and that is my favorite camera and I love it because of the autofocus is amazing. So the goal for us was to create a camera that could hold up or maybe even exceed the Sony image quality and not cost a lot of money. And in the test that we've done, we're very happy with how it looks. The image quality, the sharpness, the detail is very on par. And we haven't even tuned our sensor yet. None of it's even done yet. So once we've got to that stage with CinePie, we have no doubt this image is going to get even better. But right now, it holds up to the Sony very well. Also, I would say that this is a 4K camera only. So whether you're shooting 4K in 25 up to 60, I would stick to 4K if you're using the Super 16 size sensor. Because if you drop down to 1080p, you're going to get this thing called pixel binning, where it kind of throws away a little bit of information. And I had that in the last video. So think of this as a 4K camera only. You can do 1080p as long as you haven't got too many details in the image, but think of it as a 4K camera. If you do upgrade to the APS-C version later on this year, then you can do 4K and 1080p with no pixel binning. Finally, we're just going to talk about the timeline and release. So first of all, we're going to release about 20 EVE units, and that's going to be around the end of June, mid to the end of June. And the reason why we're only releasing 20 is because we need to get the feedback first on the software, the detailing of the image, and make sure everything is absolutely amazing and done well before we push them out en masse. Now remember, this is not a business for us. We're only two guys. Unfortunately, we got thrust into the business side because we had no choice. If we have to do this and sell these for tax reasons and all that kind of stuff, we needed to set up a business. So we're going to start small with a few beta units, about 20, and get a few out to YouTubers, and we're going to see how it goes from there. Hopefully, if the feedback comes good, then we can start releasing straight away late June or sort of in July. As I said, we are not businessmen, so if we can get people to help us in the manufacturing side, if there's anyone out there in terms of, who owns a manufacturing, distribution, 3D printing, we would love to hear from you. At the moment, we're printing everything on Bamboo Lab printers, and they're absolutely amazing. The way we've done the helicoil inserts and the toughness, the robustness of this unit is absolutely fantastic. And, we have other cameras as well, which we did, like the Eclipse. And this one also was done on Bamboo Lab. Absolutely fantastic, holding up very well. But we would like to move into some mass production. Hopefully we can move into resin printing. That would really help us to get things done faster. But we would like to talk to people. So only reach out to us about manufacturing if you've got some sort of avenue to guide us straight away. Okay guys, so that's the end of the video and I really hope you enjoyed it and I really hope that was informative for you. Don't forget to go over to the website where you can see a full list of the specs, the weight and all sorts of other information about the cameras. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, please, because as you know, we don't get much traction on this channel, but it's important that everybody gets to see these cameras because now that we've teamed up with CinePie, there's going to be a lot of work that's going to spill out. So whether you buy our cameras or not, our bodies, there's going to be a lot of work there between the two of us, our collaboration, that's going to spill out to the wide user base. So we hope that people are going to start creating their own bodies soon, but we do have something extra to show you to give you an idea of how you can build your own camera. And that is this little beast here, which is an Arriflex 16S. Now this camera has been fully digitized. It has a Super 8 sensor, multiple different ports, and you're going to be seeing this in a video very soon. I've got a few more ports to put in on this one, and then yeah, we're ready to go. And in this one, we're just going to show you all the parts that we use to build this up, and then you can just take those parts, get any type of body you want, and you can kind of fit them together. But yes, that's going to be in a new video, and I hope you're excited for that one. Take care guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Later.